What is up, YouTube? I bet you it's been a long time since you've seen that happen. Well, maybe not, because people were commenting on my videos still after like 4 years. But people were commenting on my videos and saying like, "Hey, do a review video." I was like, "All right, fine." Uh, I stopped about like 4 years ago just because life kind of got in the way, and I didn't stop reading. I just stopped making videos. It was a lot of work, and I had little kids, and it is what it is. No, not blaming anybody, except for it was my fault. Let's talk about what I've been reading recently. I've been reading a lot. I finished Stephen King's stuff. I read The Expanse, except for the 9th book. I'm actually rereading The Expanse. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But I'm rereading The Expanse so that I can get ready for the 9th book, because I read that like 3 years ago, and I'm just like, I read it all like it's super fast, like blitz through the whole thing. And so rereading it, I'm like, I don't remember this at all. So, well, whatever. Rereading that. And I'll talk about that in a minute. I just finished Winter's Heart. This is Wheel of Time. I've been suggested it many times and never really sat down to do it. And then I saw that, no, I started reading before that I realized that Amazon was making a show. And I was like, oh, sick, they're making a show. I'm super excited about that. But I'm on the 10th book. That's the 9th book. I'm on the 10th book now. I'm reading Murderbot Diaries. This is the 4th book, Exit Strategy. Haven't started it yet, but it's on my pile here. I just finished Lucifer's Hammer. I'll do a little review of Lucifer's Hammers for you. That's what this video will be, besides me catching up with you. I'm reading, I'll get to the review in a minute. I'm reading A Canticle for Leibowitz. Super good. I'm reading, not this one, this well-used version of Caliban's War. That's good. It's good. So, yeah, that's about what I'm reading now. I spend a lot. I read a lot. So, yeah. Let's see. We'll talk about Lucifer's Hammer. Lucifer's Hammer. I'm getting back into like classic sci-fi. As you can see, quite a few of those books, all of those books except for Wheel of Time are sci-fi. Not classic sci-fi, but Canto for Leibowitz, that's classic sci-fi. Regardless, Lucifer's Hammer. It was on my list for a long time, and I just never read it. And then I kind of got this itch to read some classic sci-fi, and I was like, you know what? That's probably the one that's been on my list the longest. So I just got a copy of it, read it. I was expecting it to be like a lot more prep. What? Okay, so what's the premise? What's the premise of the book? Lucifer's Hammer. There's a guy named Tim Hamner. He spots a comet. It's named after him and some other boy who saw it at the same time. I say boy because he's young. Hamner Brown is the name of the comet. The comet is supposed to be really spectacular to watch because it's going to be so close to Earth. Well, come to find out, the comet actually hits the Earth. So that's why it's called Hammer. Last guy's name is Hamner. Yeah, Lucifer's Hammer. That's where the title of the book comes from, if you were still wondering. But so it hits the Earth, and then it's the aftermath after this giant, I guess it's a meteorite, it's not a comet anymore, hits the Earth. I was expecting a lot more, like maybe like 75% of the book to be the comet's coming and what's happening on Earth because the comet's coming, and then maybe like not even 100 pages, but like 25 to 50 pages of the comet hit, and then like the last 10% of the book being like, well, this is post-apocalypse. But no. Like the comet hits before the halfway point, and it's a lot of like how how we survived, or not necessarily how we survived, but more of like what it would look like if we were trying to survive, because a lot of people do not survive. But it's great if you want Larry Niven and Jerry Pournelle are like great authors, and they're staples in the classic sci-fi genre. So definitely go. Only thing that I've read from them, so I can't say that this is the best thing that I've read from them, even though that's true. It just doesn't make much sense. Anyways, yeah, great read. It's a short read. We'll go to Canticle for Leibowitz. I'm not finished. I'm about halfway done. Let's see. I just saw it. Chapter 15 or so. Chapter 15. Yeah, it's great. I'm really enjoying it. I'm actually loving this a lot. If you don't know Latin, no, just kidding. Like, there's a lot of Latin, and it just kind of expects you to know what it means. However, I knew a decent amount of Latin going in, just because I'm kind of a language nerd, and I didn't know enough, but it's not kept me from enjoying the book. And I don't go to Google Translate and like, what did he just say there? It doesn't matter what they actually say in Latin. That's just the way that it's written. You understand that when they're using Latin, it means that something of significance is happening, and then like the next 3 pages after like a little blurb of Latin happens, it goes on to explain what had happened in a very clever way. It doesn't make you feel like it's just like, I'm smart and use Latin, and then I'll go through and just like explain to you because you're so you don't understand. No, like it just does it really well. It's like, oh, okay. It just expects you to understand what happened in Latin, and then it goes on, and then all the context after it for like the next 2 to 3 pages explains what happened, and it's great that way. I'm not going to review it yet because I haven't finished. If I do another video, like, hey, next video, Canticle for Leibowitz, cool. But I'm excited. I'm reading it quickly. Actually, I don't know how quickly I'm reading it. I haven't been keeping track because Lucifer's Hammer kind of jumped up to the front there once I got it to the comet hit, and I just like sped right through the rest of it. Yeah, so haven't started this yet, but I just got Network Effect. That's the next one. I just got Network Effect in the mail like this weekend, so I'll probably blitz. I mean, this thing's 120 pages at the most. Oh, excuse me, 170 pages. That won't take long. I'm reading the next. I'll start reading the next book in Wheel of Time, book 10, and I'm reading Caliban's War. So I know a lot of you don't know. It's been 4 years, and I haven't said anything about what I'm doing, but I'm doing a podcast, right? And we're about to kick off season 2 for the podcast. We kind of expected to be doing this quicker, but the holidays happened, and it was just like, yeah. So we're trying to do some things, work some things out for season 2, make it easier, because I just don't have the time to edit. Podcast editing is painful, and then you go online to see hire somebody to do it, and they're trying to rob you basically. But I understand why it's so expensive, because it takes so much time to do. But so we're trying to figure some things out for season 2. But yeah, I'll plug it right here so that you guys can go listen to it. Season 1 is Leviathan Wakes. No big surprise there. Yeah, it's just me, my brother, and another friend. My brother and my friend kind of casually pop back and forth. I'm on every episode. So if that's something you're interested in, it's a lot longer form than my normal book reviews. If you've seen any of my other book reviews, we spend 8 hours talking about the stuff that happened in this book. That's a rough estimate. And we do it by 10 chapter chunks. So obviously now season 1's all published, and you can go and binge the whole thing if you wanted to. But you read 10 chapters, listen to an episode. Read 10 chapters, listen to an episode. And I mean, the chapters take you 10 minutes. They're not long chapters. Not like whatever. But yeah, so season 1's out. We're not doing the Butcher of Anderson Station. So if you listen to the last episode of season 1, we're gonna be like, oh, Butchers of Anderson Station. We tried it, and like, there's not a lot to talk about because the thing's super short, and you're just like, well, this is what happened. You're like, okay, like there's not like any in-depth discussion that we had. It was just kind of like, yeah, well, this kind of happened. You're like, whoa, that's interesting. And it was like 13-minute podcast when the rest of our podcasts are like at least 45 minutes, if not to an hour and a half. So it was just like, it doesn't fit the form. So we just kind of like, oh, we'll scrap it. We'll apologize in season 2, which we've already actually recorded episode 1 of season 2. We're about to record episode 2 of season 2. So we're kicking into it. We'll probably be published at some point. You know, I don't know how we're gonna publish it. We're still working on it, but that's neither here nor there. So yeah, thanks for hitting me up. Somebody, oh man, let me look. Pause. Shoot. Let's see. Jasmine Symington. Yeah. This was just like, hey, do more book reviews. And I said, fine. And so here's another book review. And I'll see what I can do. I'm not making any promises that I'm going to be making book reviews like religiously or regularly. This is a little treat, and hopefully I'll keep it going. We'll see what we could do. I got kids now, and one of them's in Indiana, and the other one's taking a nap right now. That's why I can record. So, yeah, it's a lot of work to record and then edit and then publish. Yeah, so, well, hey, yeah, so that's Lucifer's Hammer. If you haven't read it and you're into classic sci-fi, this is a good place to start, because that's basically where I started. I don't know if I've, no, I read like Neuromancer. That's classic sci-fi. That's a good place to start. Neuromancer. I've read some PKD. PKD may, Philip K. Dick, if you don't know, may not be a good place to start classic sci-fi. Yeah, so it is what it is. Some other things that I've read that you might want to talk about. I've read 2/3 of the Greenbone Saga. I haven't read the third book in that yet. I'm about to read it soonish, probably after I finish book 10 of Wheel of Time. I've read basically everything from the Cosmere, so I can do reviews on those. Looking forward to Wax and Wane 6. 5. 4? Frig. It's going to be 5, isn't it? Because there's 4. It's been a hot second since I've read of those. But I'm looking for the next Wax and Wane to be published, hopefully by the end of the year. And he's already writing book 5 of Stormlight. Like, we're lucky, man. But whatever. Yeah, I've read a lot. And I just haven't told you about it or cared to share my opinions about it. So, well, maybe I'll change. All right. Here's looking at you guys. And as if you remember or not, time to get back to the book.